What up, tubers? Bunny here, and this week we're back in Black Lake in Minecraft. So, I seem to be here at the front door of the open house, and I think I just heard Bessie snort. Well, I don't know if it's snort or I don't know. Let me step out. So, here are the houses that I built in the previous Black Lake episode, and I've noticed that there have been a weird glitch happening as I've been flying around Black Lake. If you notice those momentary glitches in rendering that you notice, it's like holes appear in the fabric of space and time itself. It's the apocalypse! So if I collect myself, I'll start walking downtown. And if you notice that empty plot of land that I'm looking at right now, and if I get a little bit closer, wonder, are there any cars coming down the street? Nah, doesn't look like it. Here I go. Wait, what? So here on the corner of Main Street and Park Street, actually I'm going to turn my crosshairs on. And I'll start doing punching motions into this general area. Here, I am going to be building a county government center. So I'm thinking in this corner over here is where I'm going to place the parking lots. It'll actually be probably in this half of the lot right here, where the actual building is going to be. I don't know if there'll be anything over in that corner. Depends on how big I feel the parking lot needs to be. And you've noticed in the previous Black Lake episodes that I've created these buildings to kind of sort of have sort of I don't know, old-timey is the correct phrase, but you can get the idea. It's not supposed to look ultra-modern like you would see in big cities. So you see there with the cafe and the church, and also kind of sort of with the drive-in restaurant, which has its view blocked by the church. And that, my friends, is how you put God first. Well, literally, only if you're talking about your view anyway. And then over here, you've got the houses. So yeah, kind of a classic style to it, kind of, I guess, 20th century look I would probably give it. Well, this county government center, and Black Lake is going to be the county seat of Black County. The county government center is actually going to be a modern building design. I actually watched a YouTube video not too long before I started recording this video that shows some simple steps on how to create your own modern house by Grian. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, is Grian? Yeah, I'll put a card in the upper right corner of the screen and you can check out that video if you want to. And technically it's on how to build a modern home, but I think I could use those simple steps to actually create the structure of this building. And I have an idea as to what I want the structure to look like. See, I'm thinking building will go here, parking lot will go in this general area, possibly in this area too, but I'm not entirely sure just yet. So as I sit on this wire pole here, and I get my feet numb as I stand on this high voltage that those wires containing, or actually these wires, they're wiring up those lampposts that you see along Park Street. So as I stand on this wire pole, this is the point where I say that I'm going to go ahead and start the time lapse. I'm actually really excited to do this build in today's episode. I actually get this idea shortly after recording the previous Black Lake episode. Well, at this point I think I'm gonna shut up and I'm actually gonna go ahead and actually do the build. So without further ado, let's begin the time lapse. I'm going to give you guys a spoiler and tell you that I didn't build the entire building. I mean, I built the shell of the building, however, I have yet to decorate the interior and to actually put up the walls to divide the rooms. And now with that out of the way, let me begin the narration. So what you see me doing here is creating the parking lot. And I actually plan to build another parking lot on the other side of the building later. Not in this episode, you're not going to see that here. But I'm thinking when I get back to this building next, in the next Black Lake episode, then I will put a backside parking lot. And given how many people are supposed to be inside this building, the parking lot that I built, its parking spaces are way inadequate for the demand. Anyway, back to the present. So here I'm adding some lighting to the parking lot. And you're going to see in a moment that I absolutely did not use the clone command a second time by mistake. Definitely not. Bunny never makes mistakes. And if you have seen some of my other videos, you know that I am lying right now. Well, at this point, I'm now making a sign for this county government center. I'm actually going to create another such sign on the other side of the parking lot. Also at this point, I'm creating some hedges along the edge of the parking lot. Now originally I was going to have a Rabbit Arakan flag on the Main Street side of the parking lot. And then over on the Lake Street side of the parking lot, I was going to put a little clock tower. However, I ended up ditching the clock tower idea and just went with the Rabbit Arakan flag only. Okay, I'm a little late in mentioning this, but I guess now I can say that I did decide to use the full half of that plot of land to create the parking lot. Okay, so at this point I finished creating the parking lot. At least I'm pretty sure that's the part where I was done with the parking lot. And now I'm beginning construction on the government center itself. So the tutorial I watched on how to build a modern house, it calls for one part of the structure that's like this giant block that's supposed to appear to support the rest of the structure itself. In the end, I created two such blocks that cross each other to form a cross shape. The structure also includes primary areas that stick out from the rest of the structure. I use the smooth quartz to build those areas. And then there are some areas of the building where the wall recedes inwards by one block. And that's what I use the dark oak planks for. So as you notice here, I am building up the first floor more or less by hand. I mean, there are some areas where I use the fill command, like the floor, but I don't get to cloning the floors until I get to the second and third floors. Here's another spoiler, I built 6 floors in total. And yeah, you just saw me lure some pigs out of the building using a carrot, and then I bred them. What is it? Bred? Breeded? Breaded? What's the past tense for breed? So here I'm adding cubicle walls to the clerk's office. Actually, there's 2 clerks in this building. There's the city clerk and then there's the county clerk. I think the office that I was just narrating on ended up being the county clerk's office. I'll find out once the time-lapse actually gets back to that office over there. So here, as you notice, I'm creating the ceiling to the first floor. I was originally thinking of using glowstone for the lighting, but then I decided to use the sea lantern to kind of give it a little bit of a modern feel, plus to also give it kind of a false impression that it's kind of a cool lighting. So here I am creating the elevator for this building. And I should mention that the arms of this central cross-shaped block, they house the stairwell and the elevator, as well as a small room behind the elevator, which has some command blocks, which actually makes the elevator work. So with the creation of the stairwell, that completes just about the first floor of this building. At this point, I'm now going to clone the stairwell so that I can get the building ready for its next 5 floors. And what I don't include in the time-lapse is the big pause in which I pull out one of my high school textbooks and I do some research to see what composes a county government and a city government. And then once I finished doing that research, I had to do some visualization just to figure out how do I fit each of these offices in, each of these components. And there was evening and there was morning the first day. Oh yeah, I should mention that I did this project over the course of 2 days. In the beginning of day 2's work saw the tweaking, multiple tweakings actually, of the command blocks that will operate the elevator. And that took quite a few minutes of tweaking to get right before I deemed the elevator worthy to be continued upwards. But finally, as you see here, I deemed it ready and I went ahead and cloned the shaft so that I could get that ready for the rest of the building's 6 floors. So at this point I'm now building the outer walls for the 2nd floor, and eventually I'll get to the 3rd floor as well. And I should also mention from this floor onward, the building is basically just an empty shell. I mean, it has walls, floors, and ceilings, but none of the floors have any official rooms yet. I am not actually going to be decorating the interior of the county center until the next Black Lake episode, which is probably going to be in January. So it'll be about some 2 months from now. Okay, so we're coming upon the end of the time lapse. I just have another half of the building to clone floors from, and then that'll be it for this episode's build. I must say I am impressed with how my construction turned out. Now I noticed when I was all done that there were a few things that I wanted to change. However, I took care of all that stuff off camera because it only took like a few minutes. When this time lapse cuts off, I'm gonna skip right to the showcase that I usually have at the end of each of my time lapse build videos. In fact, we're so close to the end of the time lapse that I actually played with a portion of the song just to extend it out a little bit because it too is ending. However, it ends like maybe 10-15 seconds before the time lapse ends. Whoop, that's the end of the time lapse. Let's go on to the showcase. So, welcome back. So, here is my building, the county government center, and like I said, I am rather impressed with how this turned out. I must admit it, Green's tutorial really works. So the building looks a little awkward from this side because there aren't the windows here. However, if I fly over to Main Street side, this side is more or less complete. So you can kind of get an idea as to how this building will look on the other sides in the future. Like I said, pretty cool looking. So here's what the building looks like on the other side. Like I said, I'm thinking in the future I'll put a parking lot here. Didn't I just get rid of this egg a few minutes ago? Yo, go lay your eggs somewhere else, okay? You use that mouth against me one more time, and I'm gonna shove the next egg you lay back up your... See, like I said, I'll put a parking lot here on the backside. In fact, I'm just gonna check quickly. So I could create at least 1 row of parking spots. I could possibly do... Man, will the chickens just shut up? So yeah, I can do some additional parking to this building in the future. And I have an idea actually just now on creating an outlet right here onto Lake Street here. So I'll go ahead and create that. There we go. 1 exit created for this parking lot. So now this parking lot has 3 possible exits. And look at this parking lane right here. It's so short, I don't even know if it's really functional. I might just get rid of this. So what am I waiting for? Why don't I go inside, give you a little tour? So here's the 1st floor. So office, I'll go into this office. I believe this is the city clerk's office. You know what? I've got a trick. Oh, county clerk. Okay, I guess this is the yeah. This side of the building is actually the larger side, and then the other side is the shorter side, so yeah. This is the county clerk's office. I added some cubicles. I have yet to furnish them, but like I kept saying in the time lapse, I will take care of that in the next Black Lake episode. So over here, elevator control room. And these command blocks are what operates the elevator. And I'll show you that in a moment. Actually, I'll show you that right now. So down, if I press that now, I cannot go down any further. Oh yeah, and it whispers to me. No need for the whole world to know that I can't go down any further. Well, this is a single player world, so I guess you can't really shout it. I mean, you can shout it out to the whole world, but who's gonna take notice? The pigs? Anyway, let's go up a floor. So now I'm on floor 2. Public safety, public works, public welfare. So, no rooms. So I do intend on putting rooms in the next Black Lake episode. Why do I keep mentioning the next Black Lake episode? Probably because that's when all the cool stuff... And you get a decent view of part of Black Lake from over here. You know, technically it's a swamp, but you know what? It creates a body of water that represents a lake, so it's a lake. So the remaining floors look pretty much alike. There's actually some offices over here at the back. I can actually show you those. So this is what an office on an even numbered floor looks like. It's bigger, or at least it's wider by 1 block. And just as with all the other buildings, you get a decent view of it. I bet that would be an interesting view down the street if 1, there were more buildings to look at down the street, and 2, if that stupid lamppost weren't in the way! So if I go upstairs, and let me show you the stairway now. Not much to see. Oh yeah, elevator signs. So here's what one of these offices looks like on an odd number floor. Oh, there you go. Your obstructing view of the lamppost is gone. You could get a better view down the street. Ah yes, you can get a good view of the rest of Black Lake, but I bet that view is going to be obstructed at major scales once enough buildings get put up in this area. And I suppose if you go over here, you could get a view of the countryside just beyond the north border of Black Lake. Oh, and a good view of the drive-in restaurants. Oh, and offices on this side of the building have these walk-in closets which don't have any floorboards to them. I guess I gotta go adding some floorboards now. Well, I'll go ahead and add floorboards in, and that is actually going to do it for this week's video. Be sure to tune in next Friday, as I go back to BeamNG Drive driving awesome monster trucks. But really, in the last BeamNG Drive episode, I did a little surprise showcase of the monster truck to finish off a showcase of what are supposed to be normal vehicles that you would see driving around the city. So yeah, next week's video I'm going to be messing around with those monster trucks. And this is what the view of Black Lake looks like from the top floor. If I go to the elevator, I cannot go up any further, so let's go down. And that is going to conclude this week's video, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you all next week. India Alpha Bravo checking out. I don't see any cars. Cool, I made it across the street without getting hit by a car. See you guys in the next video.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.